But that wasn't the only location for James Bond here in Venice, because good morning and welcome back to the second day of my mini break to Treviso. And today I'm off for a day trip to Venice. It's somewhere that's been on my bucket list for years, and I finally get the chance to visit today. And the weather, well, it should be the same as when I arrived. Nice clear skies and a high of around 9 degrees. Can't be any worse than yesterday's weather, because it rained all day yesterday and I didn't get to visit Castle Franco. But there we go. That's what happens when you visit places out of season. So let's go and have some fun in Venice, and hopefully we'll get down to St. Mark's Square and see all the sights there, and a location for the James Bond film Moonraker. Let's go to Venice. And I've arrived in Venice, and it's a little foggy. Never mind, the sun's due to come out a little later, so I'm looking forward to that. But lovely to be in Venice. Oh, 35 minutes on the train down from Treviso, and only €7.60 for a return ticket. Didn't think that was too bad. But now I'll try and take the water bus down to St. Mark's Square and explore Venice. 45 minutes I stood in the queue waiting for this boat. This is absolute chaos. We're not even in the height of the summer season. This is just a few days before Christmas. And these boats are full now. And there are huge queues for these boats as well, from locals and tourists alike. What must the queues be like in the height of summer? I dread to think. I think this is probably the worst place I've ever been. I'm due to come back here on Saturday. I might go somewhere else. But I'll walk through the back streets, I think, and see where we go. But this is oh, this is mad. And the worst part is I've got to get back as well. All this effort to get onto the boat. What's it gonna be like going back? Dear oh dear. Anyway, this is the main canal. This will take me down to St. Mark's Square, somewhere I've always wanted to visit. So, see what happens on the way down. We just passed under the Rialto Bridge, one of the famous bridges here in Venice. It's actually the oldest of the 4 bridges that cross the Grand Canal. It was originally built as a pontoon bridge back in 1173 and has been rebuilt several times since. The current bridge was completed back in 1591 and designed by the notable Venetian architect Antonio da Ponte. It's a bit fresh here on the water, And the sun's coming out as well, which is absolutely beautiful. This is one very, very busy canal. Venice itself is built on a group of 126 islands that is separated by expanses of open water and by canals. And portions of the city are linked by 472 bridges. There are many famous people who can call Venice their home. Some of the great composers: Antonio Vivaldi, Tommaso Albinoni and Claudio Monteverdi. And some of the great classical painters of the great Venetian era. People like Canaletto, Titian and Giovanni Bellini. There are one or two great explorers who also call Venice their home. Sebastian Cabot, Marco Polo and Giacomo Casanova. He was also a renowned womanizer as well. So if someone's a womanizer, we tend to call them Casanovas after Giacomo Casanova. But it's absolutely beautiful here. You can see why it's popular with tourists, and I'm so glad I'm coming here out of season. Absolutely beautiful. Odd minutes, and I got to go under the Rialto Bridge. Absolutely wonderful. Just been having a look in the royal gardens. These are the gardens to the Doge's palace, which we'll come across a little later in the video. But yeah, I did enjoy that boat ride, and the sun is shining as well. We might actually get up to 9 degrees today. And just all these souvenir stalls. Yeah, tourist traps. Mind you, I did have a look myself. I quite fancy a fridge magnet to add to my collection. Maybe I'll have a look in the shops further away from St Mark's Square. They might be a little cheaper. But this is really rather lovely here. See all the gondolas on the right hand side. And the 2 columns down here by the harbour. And one of them has a lion on the top, and the other one is St Theodore Tiron. He used to be the patron saint of Venice before he was succeeded by St Mark. Really rather nice to look at them. But let's head on up now, up towards this location for a James Bond film. A little further into St Mark's Square. It's nice here, apart from the tourists. You can see why over-tourism is hitting Venice. We're completely out of season and there are just so many tourists here. Yeah, and I'm adding to the numbers as well. But here in front of me is the Basilica. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Founded in the year 1063 and was consecrated on the 8th of October 1094. It is dedicated to and holds the relic of St. Mark the Evangelist, the patron saint of the city of Venice. Now, St. Mark's body was brought from Alexandria in Egypt by 2 Venetian merchants, and its transfer to Venice was in the years of 829, 828. And St. Mark, of course, is one of the people who is traditionally accredited with ascribing the Gospel according to St. Mark. St. Mark's Gospel. And he's buried in there. Looking at the outside and the paintings on the front, really is absolutely beautiful. But film buffs will know St. Mark's Square from the 1979 James Bond film Moonraker, because this is where Roger Moore, or James Bond, came out of the sea on a gondola and drove the gondola around St. Mark's Square. Only Bond could make a gondola go on land. Absolutely brilliant. But that wasn't the only location for James Bond here in Venice, because there's this clock tower which is behind me. And during the course of the film, Drax's henchman Char had a fight with Bond up in the tower, and Char was thrown out of the clock face. Lovely blue clock face. Yeah, he fell from that. Didn't really fall from here in real life, because they filmed that at Pinewood Studios near London. But this was the setting for the film. And they also used Venetian glass as well, and that was filmed here as well. Absolutely lovely. It's not raining. I had such a terrible day yesterday with the weather. Got absolutely soaked in Treviso, and it's really rather pleasant here, apart from the crowds. I had this problem in Pisa last year. Too many crowds, too many people trying to see the same things and photograph the same things, and yeah, I can see why Venice has a problem with tourists. But the Basilica is here, so let's go inside the Basilica and take a look. Out of all the basilicas and cathedrals I visited around Europe, I felt this one was a little disappointing. It's only €3 entrance fee, but the interior space that you can actually visit for your €3 was a little limited. It seemed to want to charge you extra for visiting different places inside the cathedral, or the basilica I should say, and the museum. I get more value actually looking at the external architecture of the building, because it is absolutely beautiful with all the carvings and the statues, especially around the doorways. Really is beautiful to look at on the outside. But it's 12 o'clock and I can hear the bells. Absolutely beautiful. And talking of bells, just across the way is La Campanile, the bell tower. So let's go up the bell tower and take a look at those bells. Up to the bell tower. You ride up in a lift. I was expecting to climb hundreds of stairs. It's really rather pleasant up here. Now the bell tower was built in 1912. The previous bell tower collapsed in 1902. They built this really rather impressive tower. You can look up and actually see the bells as well. Really impressive. The tower is 323 feet tall, or 98.6 metres. And the views from the top, well, I'll leave you with some pictures of the views. I did enjoy looking at the views from the top of the bell tower, especially looking down towards the water and all these gondolas. It's so Venetian down here, it really is. And next to me is the Doge's palace. It's an absolute masterpiece of Gothic architecture. It dates from around 1340, but much of what we see today is around 1440 onwards. And the building contains offices and courtrooms, prisons, stables and armories, including the Doge's palace. Doge was the magistrate in charge of the Venice region. But when the Venetian Empire fell in 1797, the building ceased to be needed in its original role. And so it became a museum in 1923. I was going to go and visit the Doge's palace. It was on my list of places to visit, but there's a huge queue of people to go in, including several bunches of screaming kids. So I'm not going to go in there. Besides, it's a little expensive as well. So I've made my way down here, where I'm going to end this video. I've had a fantastic time just wandering around, visiting all the places here around St Mark's Square. The boat ride getting here this morning was just wonderful, and just to take in the atmosphere of Venice on a lovely sunny day really is the best. Apart from the tourists, there are so many tourists here, and we're so out of season and it's absolutely packed. And the prices in the restaurants, well, it reflects it. They're out to make a killing here from tourists. But, ah dear. It's one of these places you come to see, you tick off your bucket list, and this is what I've done today. I've seen everything I wanted to see, except the Doge's palace, but maybe I'll come to Venice another time and visit there. But thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon for another video from somewhere else.